morning. Who's out there? Beard's a mess. It's too short to start trimming on, too long to be messing with. So what's going on? What's happening out there in the world? What we're talking about? What are we going to talk about? Can we talk about? Let's see what's going on. I'm trying to look if I'm live and if it's working. How does that work? I don't know. So, saw an article. Tomorrow actually is a webinar put on by the National Academies about engineering. What is engineering? What does it mean? Who are engineers? I suppose getting the word out that engineering is cool. I don't know. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit. Is engineering cool? What is engineering? It's a huge word. It's like the word science, because engineers rely on the methodology of science. It's something that's key to how engineering is done. Somehow you have to learn the lessons from whatever yesterday was and carry them forward. Lessons about stress on bridges, freezing on bridges. You can go watch other countries building and doing construction, and some of them don't have to worry about frost levels, frost layers. So, hey, good morning, small fish. So if you don't have to worry about the ground freezing underneath you, it changes the rules for how you have to build your homes and your houses. Now, you don't have to pay attention to that. You can ignore the rules and build a mud house in a winter weather zone, and it might not work out so well for you. So this is what engineering does. Engineering compiles these lists of things to do and be. So National Academies, what are they trying to figure out? They know what engineers are. They know what their roles are and what they do. If you go look at it, everything's presented as science and deep research. But the truth is, all these things get connected together. People have to know about the results of science, what science has found out, and be able to integrate it into the future of whatever they're dreaming of. So this idea of engineers, it spans almost, the concept of engineering spans a lot of what you do if you look at it that way. Yes, we are all dying by nature. It's inevitable. It's something we all have in common. We're going to die. What we don't have in common is what we think happens after we're dead, eh? So, yeah. Yep. The engineering domain, engineering realm. What is it? What does it mean? That title, that profession out of college usually awarded, gets pretty specific. You have structural engineers, architectural engineers, mechanical engineers, electronics engineers, electrical engineers. The types of engineers that you could run into. Nobody runs around unless they have a train conductor hat on. They don't run around saying, I'm an engineer. It's not a badge you particularly wear. Okay, so number 2 you got there. I went off the screen. I'm trying to find myself inside of YouTube. And it's not going so well because I'm live, I suppose. It's not showing that I'm live. So engineers do a lot of things, a lot of jobs, a lot of different responsibilities. Most engineers are not licensed engineers either. Most engineers work under a licensed engineer. Licensed engineers can spend a lot of time and study about engineering principles. We are all dying faster by human mistakes, misconception, misbehavior. Sorry, it fades out on the screen. I can't see it until the next one comes up. And I can't figure out how to get it from those. Well, let's see. I found another live section here. I found I'm somebody. 2 listeners now. Must include me. We are all dying faster by human mistakes, misconception, misbehavior. You know, you've got a point. You've got a point. We just got done with a 20-year war in Afghanistan, and I'm still trying to figure out what the point of that war is, what we brought those people for that 20 years of festering democracy we tried to create over there. Did we bring them infrastructure? Did we bring them a chance to look at a new future? Or did we just go over there with guns and point it at them? I suspect the former. Good morning, Nuts for Art. Nice to see you here. Yes, as a whole, we are living longer. That's just a fact. But it's an overlooked fact because it's taken for granted, I suppose. But Small Fish had a point. We cause wars. We do this to each other. If we look back in history about how humans got here, disregarding some few old books rewritten poorly, the Americas are a perfect example of a people's. The Americas, long before we arrived, had gone through tumultuous, massive climate changes. You can see on the side of mountains former palaces and kingdoms built off of water supplies that came down out of glaciers that melted. So there was some massive climate events There's always massive climate events happening. And they drive us. We don't drive them. A good example is the La Palma volcano. Been bubbling for 80 days. They've got some new oceanfront property out of it and lost a lot more for it. There was little we could do about that other than watch and get out of the way. So getting out of the way is a good thing. As a whole, we're living longer. We are dying as a result of technological contamination. That's a major part of it. That can't be denied, but it is, and it's not talked about. In all the noise of our politics today, have you heard about climate change in months? Have you seen the results of what this COP20, who's taking on what, who's responsible for this? So in the background, popping up in ads, I see an ExxonMobil ad. It's a very short, subtle one about ExxonMobil doing great things for CO2 capture and carbon sequestration, right? Whiz-bang stuff, just invented. But it's not. You see, the technology ExxonMobil is releasing, bragging about, making ads about today is old technology. It's been revitalized, revamped, made better. But the ability to do this carbon capture and sequestration has been around for a long time. So why should you be annoyed about this? We should have started these things a long time ago, actually doing them instead of talking about them. These scrubbers, these cleaners, these filters should have been put on the outputs of those coal plants out in the prairies and cleaned up decades ago, because we knew the releases from those stack emissions. We know exactly what is in them. We know what we're burning down to the elemental, the isotopic level, and we know what comes out of those stacks. We have known these things. Me and a few engineering buddies, few scientists, this is why the National Academies is maybe talking to this, because Bill Nye did us a disservice. My career was under licensed operating engineers. I had an opportunity to become an operating engineer in a few different domains and pass those up. because I like computers, so I stayed with computers. But these new whiz-bang things, like I said, that subtle ExxonMobil thing, it's out on YouTube. You'll see it go by. A pretty plant in the background. That was a part of my history, was those pretty plants in the background. So how do we know about CO2? How long have we been using natural gas? Natural gas is methane, CH4, usually, typically. It's also called syngas in the chemical world. We have massive syngas generators that produce specific gases from burning natural gas in specific ratios. In our case, we stripped off high purity hydrogen from a syngas stream. 1980s. Technology designed long before that, but it was well automated and had computers touching it, so I did too. Hydrogen separated, high purity hydrogen separation off a syngas generator to be reapplied later down in the process. 40 years ago now. Instrumentation, real-time gas chromatographs and other discrete information out there. IoT, I abuse that acronym. It's not the Internet of Things, it's information out there, and it's been that way for a long time. The Internet has let open people up to this, but they still are learning how to internets. And we can see that from all the false prophets out there making money off of it. So engineering, it's important to understand the roles and responsibilities of engineers. There's operating engineers. Those are the guys typically running plant floor systems. Operating engineers, licensed operating engineers, run boiler rooms and powerhouses and things like that. Or they sign off on major architectural designs built by dozens of other engineers and draftsmen. But they've gone through the whole design and approved all of the aspects of it so that the bridge will stand up and stand up for 30 to 50 years. That kind of design comes out of very large engineering houses. Very large. Fleur Daniel, Kerr McGee, some of these have been bought and sold and the names have changed to protect the innocent, but these are the people that design the nuclear reactors. It's General Electric and they're whomever they contract to. Kerr McGee used to be one of the big ones out there, but they got a bad name, so they changed the name to protect the innocent and the profits. So it's a chemical world out there. Very much a chemical world. Raw materials, raw resources. This carbon sequestration plant is going to take high pressure systems and processes, and it's going to take a lot of energy to run and to sequester this. So now we're consuming energy that we can't afford to consume. That issue hasn't been resolved. This is the domain of engineering, where you go in and you design something, and you design it for a specific lifetime, a specific span, a specific something to do. But we can agree, we're all going to die. And the grayer this gets, the closer you get to it. Subtle little things like being eligible for retirement reminds you you're not young anymore. Or those cool discounts. 5%, 10% here and there helps. So engineering, I wish more people understood the roles and responsibilities. I wish more people talked about it. I said Bill Nye did us a great disservice by not talking about what engineers do, but it's boring. Some of it's proprietary, a lot of it's confidential. You don't get to see behind the scenes. But today didn't poof here. Everything that we have is built upon something else and trying to make it better. And that's kind of what we have to do, make things better, not destroy them, not deconstruct them necessarily, unless we have a plan to replace them with something more effective. Medical sciences, mental health, physical health, food quality, water quality. We have a long ways to go to understand the world around us still. but fighting it, fighting the fundamentals of it, the raw science, the nature of our planet and how old and how long we've been on it belies a lot of things. So, oh well, I'm done. It was cool. Peace out, folks. Oh, hey, I figured out how to get live tech on here. Dying as a result of technological contamination. It doesn't stay up, it fades out. Barbara Hutchinson, vast.tech. I gotta run. Catch your replay. I'm glad you stopped by. And Barbara Hutchinson, I haven't seen you go by before. I'm not sure what vast.tech is, but welcome to enlighten me. Put something down in the text below. Anyhow, appreciate people stopping by. Didn't know where this was going. That Exxon Mobil thing is frustrating. If you've listened to the back Exxon stories. Peace out.